I had to start off with a smile. It's been a minute that I've been going consistently with this happy, magnificent, marvelous, money making motivational Monday. I am Toria Howard, and I am here for a short time and not a long time. I am an educator by day. I do teach eighth graders, but I also educate adults on financial literacy. So that's what we're talking about today. And we're talking about taking the limits off. And I just want to make sure that I am clearly focusing on the things that I need to focus on, which is operating in my purpose in educating. So here we are today. And I did a live like this a while ago, actually a year ago in July, by taking the limits off from a biblical perspective, because a lot of people, hi, Nisa. Hello, Cynthia, and is it Lasheen? I can't see McFarland. Appreciate you all. So I did a live like this before, and in a biblical perspective, and I said limits because I always put it in the perspective of breaking it down because I am an English teacher. Okay, so lasting improvement motivates increase in tenacity while you shine. So a lot of times when you are trying to change your perspective when it comes to money, there's a lot of limiting beliefs, a lot of things that you have believed in the past, things that you have taken from your experiences, and things that you have learned from other people, and you take those things on. And a lot of times we put the limits on ourselves. And a lot of times it is very negative in a sense when it comes to money, because we hear all these sayings: money is the root of all evil, wealthy people, are greedy, all these different things, right? But that is what the trick of the devil is. And I'm not an evangelist, I'm not a pastor. This is just the things that I know of because I went through my own struggles with limiting beliefs when it comes to money. And I had to realize that I had a relationship with money, but it was a bad relationship. Ever been in a bad relationship? You know how that feels? Okay. So I am a spender, and I can admit to that still to this day. I'm working on it. God's still working on me, right? So I'm a spender. So the first and foremost on how to take the limits off is recognizing where your money blocks are, right? I'm a spender. I used to spend everything that I have. I fall into that sometimes still to today, but I know the habits that I need to have in order to break that. So one of the things that is, yeah, it's always a work in progress, continuous work. So one of the things that I had to do was become self-aware. And I had to figure out, what is it about money that makes me feel a certain way? What is it about money that it is that I am not progressing? So I had to realize that, hi Jen, I had to realize that I just thought that because the more money I made, the more money I spent. And I was living way beyond my means. I had a house, I had a car, I had all these things, but I was always buying and doing and swiping and not accounting for my money. So I had to realize, because I knew how I felt when I had money and I knew how I felt when I didn't. And people have to realize, first and foremost, in order for you to snatch the lemons off, is that you have to recognize that you have a relationship with money. And the relationship can hinder you, or it can increase you. Mine was hindering me because I was spending everything that I had, and I didn't have enough left over to invest, to save, to do anything extra. And I needed to make sure that I understood that and I recognized that. So once I recognized that, I started to see, okay, where is it that what I need to do? And first and foremost, I needed to do a budget. And a lot of times we don't take the time to sit down and do a budget because it can be time consuming, life be life, and we got all these excuses as to why we can't do certain things. But we have to realize that in order for us to get somewhere, we have to make time for our finances. I love people that sit down and say they do this every week. You might not have time to do it every week. Some people do it every 2 weeks when they get paid. Some people do it monthly. Start where you are. So if you want to do monthly, then you have to calculate everything. You have to go and comb through your bank statements and those cash app statements and all the other places that you have your money going, and look and see where you're spending your money. A lot of times we know what's coming in because if you have a paycheck, of course, every 2 weeks, or every week or whatever, I'm going to get a certain amount of money. So we know what's coming in, but do we actually realize what's coming out? Yes, we know we have to pay mortgage rent on the first, between the 1st and the 15th, depending on how your mortgage and your rent is set up. Usually you have like 3 to 5 days from the first to pay your rent. Sometimes on your mortgage, you might have 15 days before it's late. So that part. The fact that you have a car payment. The fact that you have utilities and all of these things. But what about subscriptions and the eating out? And do you account for your hair, your nails, your barber, your children's costs? Because of the thing is, children are a bill. You didn't realize that. They are a bill. So, their activities, those of us that have active children, like my daughter does sewing class. So I know that's a cost. Those of you that have sports parents, you know how much that costs. I used to coach girls basketball for a long time. So that they have to have shoes, especially if they travel to AAU, you got a hotel, all of that stuff. Are you accounting for everything? Or are you just spending the money as you go when the stuff comes? So when you become a better planner with your finances, that helps to shave back some of those limitations, right? So you have to realize that what's coming in, yes, but you need to also know everything that's going out. How many times have you looked up and had subscriptions come out? The Netflix, the Disney Plus, you got to pay for every TV subscription now. Like, what is going on? ESPN got one, HBO Max, and all of these different things. I don't watch a lot of TV as I used to anymore, so I don't have that part of it. That's the part of my budget that I cut out. I do have Netflix for my daughter, but other than that, that's about it, and internet. So, I don't have that expense because that was something that I chose to sacrifice to say that that's something I don't need at the moment because I'm going somewhere. So another way to take the limits off is after you do your budget and see where you're bleeding a lot of times or where you can cut back, what is something temporary that you can sacrifice? Like when I bought my home back in 2010, I sacrificed TV for a whole year because I wanted to save that money, even though because I'm a teacher, I had down payment assistance from, teaching and like being an educator. And then I had another thing or whatever that I had, but I had to pay that back. So I had 2 separate mortgages, but I still had to have money when I came to the closing table to show I was in good standing with the money that they were going to give me. Because a lot of times, because I am a real estate agent as well, a lot of times people have a misconception and there's a lot of falsehoods that are out here that, you can buy money with no credit and no money and doing all these things. You can in a sense, but you have to have one or the other. And that's the thing. So you can get all those down payment assistance and things of that nature, but they are looking for you to have some type of savings, some type of money, because of the fact that they need to know that you'll be able to pay this mortgage. And if you're overspending, that they know that you're not going to be able to pay. So I sacrificed that for a whole year, save the money so I could buy my home. So when you're looking at your budget and you can see the things that you can sacrifice, I even sacrificed getting my nails done too, for a little bit. Because I'm like, I can do a little bit of, now the pedicure I couldn't, but getting my nails done, I can sacrifice it. I can throw some, every now and then, keep them shaped up or whatever. So you just have to understand where you can let some things go in this moment when you're taking the limits off your finances. So that was for me. Maybe sacrifice for you is maybe not eating out as much. Because how many of you, or us, I should say, will buy groceries and still go out to eat? I've done it. So you have to understand, um, yeah, I do enjoy the spend. Definitely enjoy the spend. It feels good, when you can go out and buy stuff, no buyer's remorse, right? It feels good to be able to buy, but just make sure that you understand once that bill comes, especially if you're charging it, it can strike up some anxiety and some fear. So just don't do too much. So taking the limits off is basically being transparent with yourself and freeing yourself from those old habits that you have. And a lot of people are not willing to do that at a certain point. Sometimes it takes a pain point for people to say, hey, I am ready for me to do this. I've had plenty of people, I've been doing and working with credit repair and financial literacy for almost 3 years now. And I've had people who, when I first started, who said they wanted to get started, are still coming to me asking for info, or people who started with me 2 and 3 years ago, basically saying, no, it's about to be, wait, I started in 2021, about to be 4 years. So I just had to think about that. But I've had people who started me back in 2021 just signing up now. So sometimes it takes a pain point for people to say enough is enough. But why get to that point where it's a pain point when you already know what you need? But it takes that, sometimes it takes that change in us to do it. But what was the pain point for me is when I was trying to buy 4 properties during the time when I started my real estate investment company with my partner, and I had bad credit. She had bad credit. I was a school teacher. She was a stay-at-home mom, so we didn't have any money. So we went out trying to get loans and things of that nature for our business and wasn't able to do it. I had like 12 inquiries. And the person that did say they were finances, because it was a good deal, it was 4 houses for $100,000 each. And it was all 3 bedroom, 2 bath at that. And it had tenants already in it. It was just a great deal. So they said they would do it, but we still had to come up with 40% of the money. We had to come up with 40% of the money for those homes, and we didn't have that. So what we decided at that point was I needed to make a change in my finances. So that was a pain point for me because of the fact that I could not do anything for my company. That broke my heart. So what I'm saying is, to take the limits off, first and foremost, you have to understand how to first and foremost examine your relationship with money. Secondly, doing a budget and seeing where your money is going out. Third is looking where can you sacrifice for a short amount of time in order for you to be able to get to where you want to go. And fourth, then making sure that you are ready to make that move and that change, because it has to be at the time in which where you are. So you have to start where you are. And I had one last thing that I could say about taking the limits off. I had a client. I was a guest on her show, and she has a podcast, and I was talking about financial literacy, and we had a conversation after the fact, and she was like, I don't want anything to do with credit cards. I buy everything with cash. I'm never going to be a homeowner, blah, blah, this and that. And I had to help her shave back those limits by just giving her education. The more education you have, the more the limits can come off. And that's another thing people don't realize. The more you educate yourself, the more the limitations go away. Just like when you're learning something new, those of you that went to college or taking courses and classes, of course you are new, you don't know what you're doing, you don't know what's going on, but the more you learn, the better you got at it. And that's the thing. I've been studying a lot of financial books. I'm reading Think and Grow Rich right now. I'm going to do that. I'm going to finish. I got to do my 30 minutes as soon as I get off this live of reading today. So you have to understand that knowing what those things are to stop those bad habits is where you need to be, right? You have to get the education. And when I educated her on how credit works and how to use credit cards, 3 months later, she said that, hey, my credit score increased. 6 months later, she was ready to purchase a home. She never thought she was going to be able to purchase a home. It took her 10 months to purchase a home because she had to save up some more money for the program that she got in. But the whole point is the education that I gave her, she took it and applied it to her own life, and she was able to see the results. That took the limits off. So let's examine it one last time. So, well, how do you take the limits off? So, first and foremost is being understanding and being more self-aware and self-reflect, right, Dre? You have to self-reflect and know where you are, and what your relationship with money is. Secondly, doing a budget and seeing how where your money is going. Third is being able to see where you can take those sacrifices in order for you to be able to get to where you want to be. Fourth is the education part of it. How are you going to educate yourself in order to learn how to take those limits off your limiting beliefs about money? Excuse me. The more you educate yourself on finances and knowing what to do with finances and how to build it and how to see it and how to live it and breathe it and do all those things, it will help you to understand how to take the limits off. But first and foremost, you have to realize, like, I have a problem. And I had to realize that. So all in all, I would just say, just taking the limits off come with being self-aware of yourself and self-reflection, and also knowing where you are by doing your budget and educating yourself. It's all an education piece. Self-awareness is education, the budget is education, and then formal education by reading books, listening to podcasts, videos, or whatever, however that looks for you, whatever works for you. I'm a reader and I'm a listener. So I love to listen to stuff. Like when I work out in the mornings, I listen to Myron Golden. And then like at night, I read. So I take it double dose every single day, at least 5 days a week. So I know I'm taking the limits off by educating myself. And the more that I educated myself, the more my eyes are opening. Because one of the prayers that I've been saying is, Lord, open my eyes to the opportunities that I'm not seeing that's right in front of me. Because a lot of times we are missing the one thing that will catapult us to the next level that's right in front of us, that's right inside of us or right in our hands, because of the limiting beliefs and the blockers that we have on ourselves. So I say that to say this: if you need any of my services, I do financial literacy, credit repair. I help people with budgeting, saving, debt payoff, will and trust, all of those things. If you know somebody that needs it, share this video, share my profile. Make sure that you subscribe to my YouTube channel. I did post it on my Facebook. I'm gonna put it on my in my story as well. So I'm gonna continue this journey of education. The more I educate myself, the more I'm educating the masses, because this is what God purposed me to do. So I bid you adieu. I'll see you tomorrow for Real Estate Tuesday. So it's always a great day to have. Well, I should say it's a great night to have a great night, because it's about to be over. So no school for the kiddies tomorrow here, and everybody go out and vote. But I'll see you tomorrow, Real Estate Tuesday. Have a good evening.